Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today is a great day. This is part 2 of the engine reassembly. We're here at David's shop at DandD. If you're local to the Portland area, come on by. Tell him I sent you. But anyways, get to it. So we got the block here. It's been freshly bored and honed. We are 0.5 over bore. And then we have our pistons here with the stock rods. We went 11 to 8 on the compression ratio. We're going to be installing our rings, bearings, so stay tuned. Alright, so when you guys have your engine completely disassembled like that, we have our main caps here, and they only go on one way on per cylinder. So we'll lube it up, put the crank in. So first off, we start with installing the oil squirters back in. This is a GSR block. I don't know if the LS comes with them or not.
No, they do not.
And they do not. So yeah, you just want to put these back on, so that way you don't blow your bottom end. Alright, so when we're installing the main bearings, they have these little notches here. So this is the closest I could get to focus, but if you see right here, there's a little notch. And this is the only way that these main bearings will go into the block. So we're back here, lubing up the bearings, and then after you get your crank micro polish, be ready to put back in to the bottom end. Alright, what's the next step?
I was going to put 1 and 5 on, and then we'll start putting the pistons in. So
you're just going to slide them in?
Yeah, you set them on there and they'll spin right around. Okay. But I'm not going to put this on until we put all the pistons in there. The cap in half, but that's
so remember, how do you tell these apart from which one's which?
Well, this is 1 and 5.
Okay, so it'll be numbered.
Yeah. All engines are numbered though.
So we're getting ready to put the piston rings on. So what is this here? This one here.
So we got the oil ring, which it's this ring and the 2 shims, and then we got the second ring, which is like an oil scraper, and then top ring.
All right. So when you're installing this, is anything in particular, or you just put it on?
You start off with the oil rings.
Alright, so you're putting one on top and one under?
Yeah, it kind of keeps that expander in place.
And which groove is this one going into? The second one?
And they usually, if they don't have they have a dot to tell you which way to face it.
Okay, and the dot is what, facing up?
Facing up.
Alright, and this is what, a compression one? Is that a compression ring?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the oil scraper.
Yeah, it's a second compression ring, you know, when this one, I guess, fails when your motor's done. Sometimes the top ones, like this one, is not directional. You can go either way. So that's 1, and then when I install it, I put them in the right spot.
And then, yeah, that's where the ring gaps are, right?
Yeah, I usually put it in the cylinder, and then I oil it up and rotate them all around, make sure they're all free, and then I locate them in the right direction.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and finish up the rest of these. We'll be right back. Yes. So after you get the rod bearings on, you want to put a little bit of assembly lube on. These, where are these called? Just be
call them rod condoms.
Rod condoms. So you can actually use a hose, or these work real well, and it helps from not hitting the sidewalls or your crank pulley when you're installing these pistons. So.
Crank drill.
I hit the sidewalls too.
Alright, so he's here hand lubing them. He's running. And what is this? Just some regular oil?
Just yeah, some thin white oil.
He's just got some thin oil, and then you put the crank at what, top dead center?
Right now it is. I just locate it where the crank's all the way at the bottom of its stroke, and then you bang it in.
And then that'll be for the cylinder 1 and 4?
We're doing 2 and 3.
Oh, we're doing 2 and 3
That's how it
first?
lined up.
Remember, guys, lube is key. And don't forget to work it in with your fingers. David's a pro here. But for some of you guys, there are amateurs to it. Just don't be afraid to get it. I mean, you have any
And the
any
gap
advice?
should be here, here, and then other gap is going to be here and here.
Okay, and does it matter which cap goes where?
I always do the oil ring in the back, and then I do the second and top ring in the front. It just kind of, it doesn't really matter though.
Okay, just as long as the gaps are in all 4 corners of
Yeah.
a circle, I guess. If you can find 4 corners of a circle.
And this is the wrong size. Hold that 1 sec.
Then with the crank, he said we just rotate it to where it's at the bottom of its stroke.
Damn. My bad.
Sometimes when you don't line it up straight, you can't just ram it in. So you gotta take your time. Make sure it's well lubed. Like I said, the cap only goes on one way, so make sure it's the right one. Yeah, how do you tell if this is at the very bottom of its lobe?
It doesn't necessarily matter. It just makes it easier. So once you get if it's on the other end, it'll hit the rod will actually hit the crank before it's even the cylinder. You know, the piston's all the way in the cylinder.
Okay.
And see how it's right there. If it was 180 degrees out of that, it would already be touching.
After you get 2 and 3 put back in, you rotate it 180 degrees, and then you get your number 1 and 4 put in, and then torque it down to 33 foot-pounds. And then you put your main caps back on, and when you bolt those down, you want to go from the inside out, but I'll show you that when we get to there. Once you get your pistons all in,
While the crank is out.
you want to lube up the thrust washers, and they only go in 1 cylinder, right? The thrust washers?
They only go in the thrust on the crank, so it only goes in one specific spot. And there's
Alright.
slots that get oil. If you put these in backwards, it'll seize up. These little slots let oil actually go to the bearing. So it's pretty like right there.
And then that only goes in
That goes
one
against the crankshaft.
against it.
Yeah. And let me get the other side in first. So you slide it in there and spin it.
Okay.
We have to. There you go. And there you go.
And what cylinder? It's in between the
This is
cylinder.
number 4. So first
Okay.
on 4.
All right.
And
And it goes
And
right.
then the main cap holds those thrust washers from spinning around.
Okay. And you already got both of them in?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but yeah, there'll be little slots for it, like right here and here. That'll go in where these sides won't have. Alright, so we'll finish putting in the rest of the main bearings. Bearings only go in one way as well. And the girdle only goes in one way as well, right?
Yeah.
Like if you turn it the other way, it wouldn't bolt on.
No, not properly.
So we just got pretty much the bottom end reassembled. All I gotta do is just put on the oil pan, the oil pickup, some of the, yep,
You gotta put in an
oil pump, a few other things. You know, obviously this is just a short block by itself with the internals. Check out this side. So that's going to be it for today. You guys go ahead and tune into part 3 of the build. Hopefully you get that out pretty soon. We'll see you then.